Teresa here. I hope you're all keeping well and you're enjoying the weather wherever you are. It's very hot here in the UK, a bit warmer, a bit cooler today, which is lovely. Now, I don't want this to be a long video, so I'm quickly going to rush through it. These are here just for you to look at while I do some housekeeping. So I'm going to start off with people who have commented on the last video, the postcards, and or Facebook. So I'm going to start with Celine Mackenzie Vaxon, or Vaxon. Hope I've pronounced your last name properly, Celine. Deborah Moyer, Kath Avalon. Kath, I like your idea about the postcard exchange. Perhaps we need to explore that a little bit better, or a bit more I should say. Then there's an intriguing one here, and it was a lovely comment, and it's from @user C29DE5Q6W. Don't really know what that means, but I'm keeping it because the comment was fabulous. Thank you very much. Annie Claxton, I'm really enjoying your channel, and I'll be with you Saturday, which is what, 2 days away. I'll be with you, I think it's Saturday from 8 till 10 UK time, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've actually factored that in to my day. I'm looking forward to that, Annie. Judy Dawn Leader, hello Judy. Look, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks time. I'm sorting out some cross stitch things for you, but you know how the packing is and everything. I hope I can find it. And by all means, Judy, put your photographs on Facebook. I know it's a beautiful card that you've made for your nan. You sent me a photograph of it. We put all sorts up there because one craft art leads to another, and although it's paper craft, someone might see that, a textile artist, and think, I won't do that in textiles, but I will do that in fabric and thread. So don't be worried about putting non-textile things on the Facebook group. Go for it, Judy, and I'll see you soon. Patricia Clark, I hope you're well. Hello Christine Preston, I hope you're well too. Julia Delacon, and I know Julia that you're Flo's godmother. Julia, you gave me your drawer numbers, and I was really touched by that. Now I think I might have read that out again because that's feeling like deja vu. Thing is, which I didn't start off with, I've got two lists of names. One is from the last, the postcard project, and another one is from this one, names and comments from Facebook and YouTube from them. But I've got my lists muddled up. Now I'm reading from this one, but Julia, I'm sure that I've mentioned you before and about you giving me your drawer number on Janet Nash's channel, and I was really grateful to you, so thank you once again, Julia. I've got a feeling I've already thanked you. But it doesn't hurt, does it, to thank someone twice. Carol at 4 Lazy Days, once again Carol, I think that you and I were in contact before because I mentioned your name, Lazy Days. I didn't know what to call you. So I apologise if there are people on here who think, oh, I didn't contact you, but I'm on your list, or on the other side of that, people are thinking, I did contact you and I'm not on the list. So apologies whichever way. Rebecca Sparrow, Rebecca, I love your name. My daughter's called Rebecca, and of course she gets called Becky, and Sparrow's just fabulous, isn't it? Lee Brennan, hello Lee, and Gillian Brown. Lynn Finney, I haven't heard from you for a while, so I hope you're okay. If you get round to it, Lynn, drop me an email just to let me know that you're fine, okay? Right, I've deliberately left off two names, Jackie Galloway and Janet Nash. Right, I'm getting round to these lovely people now. And Janet's happens to be on the top here. I had a lovely surprise from Janet through the post, and let me see, Janet, I opened this up, a beautiful envelope, and as you can see, there's all sorts of goodies going on here. There's printed dragonfly, there's a little bit of decoupage, I think that is, Janet, some more printing there, and some teacups here. Now Janet's channel I love watching, so, and Janet is from the UK, and she likes her cup of tea, and we get the privilege of seeing Janet sip her tea from her lovely crockery. Is it crockery? So she's actually put 2 there, and very, very nice, Janet. I look forward to that. And that is your beautiful envelope. Thank you. And inside right now, where are they? Oh, inside, oh, I can't, oh, there it is, there it is. Inside, once again, still inside, Janet sent these, and that is gorgeous. I'm going to do something with that, Janet, for my little granddaughter. She'll love that. And this as well, very patriotic, and I imagine this was for King Charles' coronation. It's a coronation, wasn't it? And that is lovely. I really like that too. This was the run that I loved, and I think this is really gorgeous. I'll keep that for something special, because I just think that is beautiful, that design there. I've got a feeling there was another piece, Janet, which I might have used. I'm sure I've used something from your lovely envelope. Thank you so much, Janet. This fell out from the same envelope, and I was tickled pink. Those of you who have been with me for quite a while know I have a cuckoo clock that doesn't tell the time, and it chimes when it likes to. It really has a mind of its own. You also know the story of how my daughter and I lugged it back, a 7-hour overland journey from the Black Forest to Calais on a coach, and then across the channel, and we got home about 9 hours later. Put that on the wall, and it fell off and it broke, and it never worked properly since. Funnily enough, when my grandchildren started playing with it, it actually reset it some way. But this reminds me of it, Janet. It's exactly the same. And I have a feeling your cuckoo clock also came from the Black Forest, and I'm wondering if it came from the very well-known shop there. It's enormous, where mine came from. But this is beautiful, and I will be saving this for something else. You've got beautiful stitching here, blanket stitch, applique, a beautiful tree here, which is appliqued, and a slow stitch, and it is just gorgeous. And that is the bag. Okay, so thank you very much, Janet. I was really touched by that. That is so kind. Thank you. Then I had another envelope through the post, and it's this one. And I thought, and then I had another envelope through the post, and it was quite a big one, and it was from Jackie Galloway, and look what fell out. Now Jackie's also sent me some photocopies of a beautiful embroidery that she bought in a local charity shop. I'm not going to show you those because those form the part of my next project, so you'll get to see Jackie's photocopies then. But look at this, isn't that just stunning? There's a button there, and she's used fly stitch and applique under there. These are applique, and of course the net. These very familiar, Jackie, I recognise those. And these, and a beautiful blanket stitch again around here. There's some French knots. I think that's a little puff, isn't it? Is that a Dorset puff under there? Some slow stitch here, and that is just gorgeous. Thank you so much, Jackie. It's absolutely wonderful, and a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful comment on the back. But what made me laugh is that you also added a teacup on the back. Time for tea. And as you might guess by that, Jackie is also from the UK and likes her tea. But I have to say, Jackie, before I forget, you also enclosed a small bag of vintage buttons, sorry, which I will be using on this project now that we're about to start. So thank you very, very much for them. And ladies, Janet and Jackie, thank you. You made my week. In a very, very stressful week, a very, very stressful time, you just made my week. So thank you once again. Now, on that note, we're going to start with our project. Now, wanted to do something with a basic geometric shape, and I chose square. And then I chose a circle, and I couldn't decide. Now, you also know that I do some voluntary work in a cathedral in Kent. And this cathedral has a most magnificent floor. And it's a Victorian floor. And it's like a pavement, ceramic tiles. And I've decided, because I just love this, I'm going to use that as the basis of our project. So I'm going to flash up a few pictures here, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So at the moment you can see the pavement. Now this is just part of the pavement, but you can see how the pavement is broken up into squares, and the squares are then further broken up into circles or other squares. Now each diamond square is outlined in black, and within the black border there are 4 small squares forming a larger design. So I've chosen one of those, and I'm going to be inspired by it, not copy it, but just be inspired. So on that note, I'm going to carry on and crack on now. So you know how it goes. As our 2 friends Janet and Jackie have proved, grab your teacups, your coffee cups, and get cozy, and we'll make a start. So I'm going to start, and I started off by looking at the pavement again, or the flooring again, and quite simple, 4 squares joined to make up a large square. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that. So this is an empty cartridge, ink cartridge box on the side. So I've taken that, and as you can see, I've already started cutting out from there. So just as this big square on the pavement, one of the big squares, I cut out 4 small ones to make 1 large one. So I've started like this. This is a progression of an idea, because as always I don't know where this is going at the moment. All I know is that I've been inspired by the pavement or the flooring into making something with squares and decorating the squares. So that's as far as I know, but I cut out, let me move that up there. So I cut out 4 squares to make the big one, and I turned 2 over. So now we're getting a checkerboard effect with just the 4. And from then I started just moving them around. What would they look like if I put 2 the same here, like that, or like that, and so on. Spent quite a bit of time actually just playing around. It was really mindful and just playing around with these shapes, just 4 of them. And then I thought 4 might be limiting. I know the Victorian tile layers who are responsible for that gorgeous floor. They were working with groups of 4 and then a border all the way around. So I haven't cut the border, and I thought, yeah, they were doing some fantastic work, and I certainly don't put myself up to be as good as a Victorian craftsman stroke woman. But so I thought, they work with 4, I'm going to try 6. So I took 6, and from the 6, once again, just playing around, just seeing what I could do with the pattern. Started to feel that it was a bit cheating because the tile does say, the tile is of 4 small ones. Anyway, from there, some minutes on, I thought, what we have here is the makings of a box. Okay, so with a bottom, we've got the 4 sides and a lid. Now I am quite excited by this. I know that it's 3D and the tile is 2, but as always, we're only using the tile as a form of inspiration. We're not going to slavishly copy it. That's been done. Someone else has done that. That's their work. So now we're going to turn it into our work. I've settled on making a box, I think. Now I always tag the I think on because, as you know, it's likely to change halfway through. So that would be the basic box. You see the base and the 4 sides that would come up like this, and then I have the lid here. So I'm going to start on this. Now there are several ways of doing this. I could just stick fabric onto it and then sew it together, glue it together, but there's not a great deal of skill or art in that. We still want to do our design work on these. Now at this stage I could do a design, fabric design on each piece of this, a piece of fabric that will cover this. This will be the structure of the box. So this isn't just a template, it will actually form the box. So I could do some design work, some artwork on fabric, and then mount it on each piece, or fold it over like the old style. I expect you will remember doing patchwork with the hexagon shapes, where you actually cover the hexagon paper with the fabric and then you ease it out afterwards, after you've sewn them together. But instead these will stay inside. So I think the next thing to do, because I'm now thinking aloud and it's likely to sound a bit jumbled up, I'm going to go away and find some fabrics to make a start. I think I have a rough idea. I don't think it will be the hexagon where I just turn over the ends. At this stage I think I might actually make fabric pockets to put them in and then sew the pockets together. Right, so at the moment I have 2 options. I'm going to go away now. I'm going to think about the options while I find some fabrics. Okay, now I can see another. Do I no, this is really thinking aloud now. I do them individually, the textile, the stitchery. I do them in individual. So I've chosen fabric for the lining and the outside, except I'm not sure yet which one I'm going to use on the outside or which one on the inside. At the moment I think it could possibly be this on the outside and these very pretty ones on the inside, but hopefully by the time I've done the next task I'll have a better understanding or a clearer image of what I'm going to use. Right, I have now cut out 6 of these, and they're all 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches to fit the card. And all I'm going to do is on this side, the non-shiny side, because it's porous, I'm just going to put a little bit of paper glue in the center and stick these on and let them dry. Now I could do it on the shiny side, but it's not porous, so it might take a bit longer to dry and they'll be slipping all over the place. So I should carry on and do the 6 like this and let them dry. So these are now dry, and I'm going to put them on one side. There's another one somewhere. There it is. So I've got the 6 now. So these are now ready. I'm going to pop those to one side. And I think I've made a decision. I've cut out 6 of these and I'm going to use them for the outside. Now there are another 2 here somewhere. I'm going to use these for the outside. Now these have been cut bigger than these. Okay, they're just under an inch bigger all the way round, and that is to allow for a seam allowance when this goes over, and for any tightening, for a little bit any tightening, so it will fit nicely. So each of these are 5.5 inches by 5.5. Sorry, they're about 5 inches by 5 inches. So these are 3.5 inches square, and these are 5 inches square. Now, so I'm going to pop those there. Now I've also done the same here. Where are they? Right. So with the pretty fabric, I've also cut out 6 of these. Now these are also 5 inches square, the same size as these. So one's going to be the lining, and I think I've made a decision. I think this will be the lining, and this will have the stitchery. This will be the bit with the stitchery on it. So now I think I know where I'm going. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time trimming these, the overlaps here, so they fit the card nicely. Sorry, just being nosy looking out the window then. Someone walked past. Yes, I'm just trimming this all the way around the 6 of them. And as you can see, I thought I got these measurements, but look how much I'm trimming off. Next thing I'm going to do is to draw around one of these on all of these square pieces, not the lining, just the pieces that I'm going to use for the stitchery. So I should fold this over and try to get this as central as possible, like that, and I'm going to draw, just mark it, and I'm doing it with a pen because it really isn't going to show on the right side. Now this will give me a marker, a reference for when I'm doing the stitchery. I can just keep looking over to make sure I haven't gone over this line. What I probably will do as well is do a tacking stitch along there, so I don't have to keep turning over. I can just follow this tacking stitch here. I wouldn't advise using a pen, a biro, on the front, just in case it shows later on. So that is my next step. I should do this on all 6 of these, and then we'll be thinking about putting the decoration on. I had another look at the photograph, and there's one particular tile that I like, and I'll flash it up here. And what I've done, I've tried to simplify this tile into this. Now this is just literally a 2-second sketch, as you can see, on the back of an envelope or something that came out of a photograph frame. Initially I thought I would do it over 4 tiles, so each tile here would have part of that design on it, so that would each correspond to one tile, that quarter there, and so on. And then I looked at it again and I thought, I don't know, that might be too fussy. It might not work if each of these are going to be sides of a box. So then I thought what I'll do is actually use that as one tile. So bring that down there, make that a little bit bigger. So cover your eyes. So that will be one tile now. So I'm going to try to get that design on one of these, bearing in mind it's only going to be that big. So I might have to simplify this. Remember our tips when we're in our arty designing mode. We can exaggerate parts of the design, or if we don't like them, just take them away, eliminate them. So bear those two words in mind. And what I might actually do, looking at them now, I keep changing this. I'm not sure I like hearts. They're very twee, aren't they? They're very, and they're lovely, obviously, but I don't know if I want to work with hearts. I don't know whether to change that into another circle. Those hearts into circles. So we've got a little bit of a contrast going on. We've got the angles, the straightness and the angles of the squares against the softness and the roundness of the curves here. So that's also some of our design principles. The contrast are straight and curved, angles and soft. So that is one option. But then if I do that, what am I going to do with these circles here on the edge? Do I keep them, or will it then look too round? Oh yeah, I might eliminate those ones and keep these. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I am going to carry on, but what I have decided to do is some counter change. Now we have done counter change before, and that is when you swap fabrics, if you like. So I'm going to have, say these are the two backgrounds on two of these squares. I'm going to make this a bit smaller now. Make that smaller, lovely. So on two of these squares here, I'm going to counter change the top. So this one will have this in applique on top. I'm not sure yet whether I shall cut the design out in one piece or how I'm going to use it. I'm not sure yet. As you know, it takes its own way, doesn't it? It makes its own life. And then this one will go on there. So that is counter change. You're just changing the fabrics over like so. So I do know I'll be doing that, and I have used an iron-on interfacing. This is very thick because I don't know where the rest of you'll hear this a lot. Yeah, I don't know where the lightweight interfacing is, and I do need to interface this because it's a very frayable fabric. Now if you do use frayable fabric, gosh, that's like a tongue twister, you might want to do a zigzag around the edge. You might want to do an oversew, or you might be quite happy just leaving it. I'm leaving mine because I've got enough seam allowance there to lose a few strands, but not many. So that is the next thing I'm going to do now. I'm going to work out whether to do this in one piece with the circles. So I hold that up and there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles all attached, or not. And at this moment it's probably not. Okay, but as soon as I've made a decision on that, I'll get back and show you how far I've got. Well, I don't think I've got very far actually. I took a square. I made a square the same size as the square here, so there, and then I've cut out these pieces here, and I've started to put them on the opposite fabric, if you like. So that is how far I've got here. This one is the bottom square, so that's going to have no stitching on it at all. That won't have any stitching. Now, as I said, I've just put those down there. This will be the actual size of the squares after the seam allowance has been sewn back. So that square will actually fit like this and have that much background fabric, which is this, showing. So I need to think now, before I start attaching this, in case I make a mistake, what I'm going to do in these little pieces here, these 4 triangles here, and of course in the middle. Now I have options. I could sew these down and then do some stitchery on top, or I could go back to my lovely net. I do like using net, and this was gifted to me. Look at this, how lovely it is, how beautiful. Could go back to the net and maybe cover that and then sew on top. I think the orange is confusing things a little bit, so let's put that there. Yeah, I like that idea. I would like this to look nice and rich and quite luxurious. Oh, that's actually nice as well. So I'm going to play around with some net now. I might make a start on the sewing, or I might not. Just see what happens, see where it goes. These are tiny little strips of net, so these would only cover up a little part, but it does mean that I could have a different colour for each. Oh, well, that was lucky. They're just slightly shy of the actual width of those centre boxes. Yeah, I might think about that. Maybe placing. Right, so I have got something to think about now. So I'm going to carry on. I might start sewing down, or I might not. It depends how the mood takes me. I'm actually off to the cathedral in an hour for a meeting there, so, or a bit of training actually. So I might sort these out, because I know we'll actually be in the cathedral doing this training, and I might be able to cast an eye on the pavement or the floor. I keep calling it a pavement, for a little bit of additional inspiration. Anyway, it'll be a nice cool place today, because it has been really, really hot here, and the thought of sitting in that lovely big building, how cool, is really wonderful. So I'm going to get going, and hopefully next time you see this, which probably be tomorrow my time, I might have made some stitching. Actually, I'm beginning to like the look of that. Let's just say that is actually growing on me. Anyway, I'll get back shortly. Well, I didn't get to see the pavement last night, or the floor, because the training was changed to the crypt. And lovely and beautiful as it is, I missed out completely because there were rehearsals going on in the nave of the cathedral, so I couldn't slip up there and have a look. But anyway, I think I've made a decision with this. I've played around with some lace. I have some bits of lace here. You see, these are strips as well, these pieces, and I've decided I might place some lace underneath the center squares, somehow like that. Now this I've actually stuck down very, very loosely. I've just tacked it with the glue stick, so that is quite nice and firm at the moment. So I put this down on top, and it still didn't look right, just a little bit lopsided. So from another strip I've cut a little bit more, and I'm looking at the screen as I do this, so I'm really thinking aloud. I thought I'm going to maybe put that there because the colour is in the background here. Put that back. Yeah, I quite like that. Now I'd like this quarter left free at the moment, as a nod to the background fabric. Otherwise there's little point in doing the counter change. So I think I will leave that free, maybe decorate this. At this point I'm very tempted to machine sew along the edge here and then do some slow stitching or decorative stitching. Doesn't need too much decorative stitchery because of the lace. This is a heavily embroidered lace, or a heavy lace I should say, and it's very eye-catching. And remember, these are just going to be very small squares, so I'm not sure about how much stitchery it will take. But I've also cut some different coloured nets that actually edge other fabric. I have one red, maybe red. Now they are 4 different colours, 4 different effects, so at least each one, although the basic design on each one will be the same, with the net or the lace and the centre square, I'd like to introduce a little bit of uniqueness for each one, and I think I might do that with the different coloured net. Now I'm not sure that is coming out on the screen. This is actually a lemon. That's lemon. This is a lime, and we have white and 1 piece of red. So this is where I am at the moment. I'm going to get all of them to the same place as this, and then I'll experiment maybe with machine stitching. Might put the lace down first and machine stitch over that, and then find something for the centre. There's an awful lot of ideas, a lot of things I could do. There's a lot of ideas going on at the moment, so I'm just going to do one. Unfortunately, if it goes wrong, I haven't got enough material to replace it. I'm left with all these bits. I'd actually thought about doing these bits as well, maybe something like this, but then that would just be silly because it would just completely lose, yeah, see, it would just lose the counter change bit on the edge, wouldn't it? So I'm going to crack on. I'm really dithering here because I'm not quite sure what to do. I think I'll make a decision. I'll leave that as it is. I'll leave that there, and then I will place some net over it, and then I think I'll sew it down. Failing that, I'll sew that down first, and then I'll sew that down, which is, I think, the way forward. Anyway, I'll get back after I've made some progress with these, with just the 4, because don't forget the top and the bottom are going to be made different. Okay, so I'll crack on there and we'll see what happens. Well, I've machine sewn now all the way around the edges on all the 4 pieces. So all the way around the edge, just an ordinary straight stitch, quite a large straight stitch, but nothing fancy, all the way around there. Played around with some lace as well. Now at the moment I think I'm going to change my mind. I was going to put 1 coloured square of lace, different colours, on each piece like that, but I started to pick up some little offcuts I have. If you can see that tiny piece of blue there, and I just popped that down there, and then I found other little bits of offcut And I thought I might actually, right there, I might just use offcuts of net, just randomly place them, some edges over, spilling over onto the lace here, and others in the center here, maybe a little bit of exposed square there, cover it up there, and then I'll be thinking while I do that of putting something in the middle. Now we used these, I think it was on the last project, and I have a couple left. Something like that maybe. So this is what I'm going to play around with, but before, I mean that's quite a long way off yet, but if I like this idea, I'm going to start sewing it down. I'm going to start slow stitching around the shapes here, maybe across there. Okay, so the next time you see this or these, they should be partly finished once I put the stitchery down around the edge, if that's where I'm going to put it. So still dithering, still not too sure what I'm doing with it. Good grief. I thought I know where it was all going, but that's all been thrown up in the air. Just put a little bit of red there, see what that looks like on the screen. I'll make that bigger. Yeah, see, the more lace I put down, I think the more interesting it gets. That's sorry, not lace, net. That's 2. If I introduced a little bit more, I get more of a depth. Oh, that looks quite nice, doesn't it? So that's my next task anyway. As soon as I've decided I've got to do this on all these squares, and it's bad enough trying to work it out on one, so it's going to take me quite a time, but anyway I think it's going to be worth doing. So I'll get back as soon as I've at least finished one. I've now got all 4 to this stage here, and what I'm going to do now is start the stitching. Now I'm decided that I'm going to try and vary it on all 4, 5 if you include the lid, but I'd like them done differently. I'm going to use so I've now got all 4 at this stage here with the nets down. Oh gosh, I've now got all 4 squares at the same stage. The net's been secured down with just a little bit of put stick to hold it in place. I'm now going to start the stitching. Now I'd like all 4 of these on the sides to look slightly different. I don't want them very much the same. I've decided that I'm going to use some of these that were left over from the last project. One of the postcards had these on, and I took them off from a larger piece of lace, and it's really gorgeous. So I intend to use these. I have some varying sizes, and hopefully that might just give it a little bit of bling that I want, the nice rich look. But until I get to that stage, all I'm going to do on this particular one, bearing in mind the others might be worked differently, I'm going to start the slow stitch. Now I want to make sure that I'm not on that line. I want to avoid that line. That will be the sewing line for the seam when it comes to lining this. So I'm going to just come in slightly in there and just do rows and rows of slow stitch, running stitch, whatever you prefer to call it. Now I'm using a nice big long needle, my favourite needle that I talk about, and you can just keep loading it up. Look at that. Now that goes right the way across before I need to load it up again. There we are. Not too straight, but that doesn't matter, that adds to the charm. So I'm going to turn that round, and I'm going to cover the background now in running stitch or long stitch, whatever you like to call it. So off again. Now once I've done it this way, at this stage I think I will probably then cross it, go, where are we, up there. So I think once I've done the whole background with nice, maybe 1/4 of an inch, less than 1/2 inch anyway, spaces between them, I'm going to come back this way with some more long stitch, running stitch, maybe in a different colour. So, and then that will go down, and I'll probably do a little bit of surface stitchery around it. So as soon as I get that far, I'll get back and show you how it's looking. Who knows, maybe I'll have done the other 3 as well. Not sure, but might have done. Done. So I've done the 2 rows. I did 1 in pink, and I've crossed it with the yellow, and I like that. That looks quite nice. Now I'm just going to finish it off at the back, just to make sure that it's secure. It's just started raining out there. We're expected to have thunderstorms, which would be lovely. We've had 2 days of hot weather, and everybody's had enough now. So a great British complaint, the weather, but they're just not used to any weather really. So now I'm going to secure this in the centre. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. That's better. So I shall put that down there. Now I should have a pin or 2. Just that pin there will do. Hold that down. And I should just do, actually I won't undo this. I should use the thread that I've already got in here, and I'm just going to go between the beads here just to secure it, and I should do that all the way around, hiding the stitch. We don't need to see the stitches, although you might very well want to change your colour and do big stitches to secure it down. So I should do this all the way around now to hold it in place, and then I will have a look and see how I can further embellish it. Not too sure that I'll be doing much embellishing, but I think it could still stand just a little bit more, maybe some buttons, maybe a few stitches. Just remember it's going to be about that size. So yeah, for something so small it's going to be rather busy. But anyway, I'm going to carry on with this, and then I will start the stitching probably off screen, and then I'll get back hopefully when this is finished, and I might actually start the other 3, so these are all at the same stage, and then I'll be ready to start the lid, although I'll probably do the lid the same way as this. So we'll see what happens anyway. I don't think it's going to take that too long now to finish. Well, unfortunately I just made a little video and it's gone wrong, and I can't go back and redo what I've done, so I'm just very quickly going to go through this and explain what I've done. Now I finished the 4 sides, and here they are. Now they've been sewn together in their little pockets, and I did explain on the previous video that for some reason it didn't transfer over, so I'm just going to show you now. Imagine this is the finished pocket here. All I'm going to do now is put right sides together. This is the lining, this one, that's the lining here, So you can see that would be the right side there where the stitching is. Right sides together from the lining and this. And I'm going to sew it, or I have sewn it around 3 sides, around here. Now, because of a little bit of shrinkage on these, by pulling the stitches, I've shortened the fabric by about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm not going to sew on the line, I'm just going to sew just outside. Now I will do this by machine, but you could do this by hand with 2 rows of very, very tiny running stitch or back stitch just on 3 sides. You're going to leave the side open, one side open, to put the card in. Now you're probably looking at this thinking, oh my goodness, I don't remember that lining from a little while ago. No, you're right, I can't find the other lining. It was like this, very, very pretty. It was like that. And I can't find the cutout ones, so I'm using that one instead. But you know what's going to happen now? I'm going to lift something up and they'll all be nicely ironed underneath, but I can't worry about that now. So I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to do now is show you what to do after you've sewn the lining and the sewing together. So now you imagine the 3 sides have been sewn just like these. They've all been done the same. You see that? Now they're little pockets. And I'm going to trim around, just trim nicely around to get rid of the surplus. And I'm going to do this on all 4. So that's that one done. And just a little bit of trimming on the open edge. Not too much. Right, so the 4 now have been done, and this is the moment of truth. I'm going to pull each one in to the right side, so we end up with little pockets like this, and I'm going to pull out the corners. Here's the bone folder. Might need a pin as well, just to, I'm going to do it with these scissors, but if you do it with the scissors, please be careful not to go right the way through. These are quite thick, so I can just pull those out. Right, now let's have a look just to see. I'm gonna just trim that off. A little bit of looseness there, and let's see. Moment of truth to see if it goes in. Right, I want the padded side, this side, and then I'm going to run it down the seam allowance. Ooh, it's a neat fit, shall we say. We don't want it loose, or we don't want it too tight. There we go. So that is the first side. That's the first side. Now I'll show you with this one. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Now each one will hopefully end up looking like this, with that as a side. Now this needs to be pushed in thoroughly, and then this part here needs to be folded over and then over sewn. So once you've folded it over, now you might want to put some tacking stitches in to hold it. You're going to fold that over, and I think I probably will tack these together first, and then with little stitches you're going to over sew from one side to the other, fairly close together, and that will go on the bottom. That will be the base. So your top will be the machine sewn edge here. Now I'm going to carry on and I'm going to do that to the other 3 here, and as soon as I've done that I'll get back and I'll show you the sides finished. Well, I did find the missing pieces of fabric. Here they are, and they were under the table, and another piece of fabric had fallen on top. Isn't that always the way? But they're coming useful for something else anyway. Now I have finished the 6, is it 6? Yeah, the 6 pieces. That is the front one. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. It is slightly different to the other ones. There, it's actually off center, but that doesn't matter, it makes no difference at all. So that is the front, and I've used sequins, the same motif here, the red, as I've used on the others, but this one is also over the top of a lilac coloured motif as well. If I hold it up, you might just catch a glimpse of that. Also, the features here on the 4 corners are from the same lilac piece of lace, and it is lace, and it's very, very, very lovely. So the stitches are the same as on before, technique's the same, except under the bottom of the lace, or should I say on the top of the background fabric, is just 1 piece of lace. If you look closely, and it's lace that you have seen before, you can see here bits of it poking out here and here, and it was just 1 piece that happened to cover that nicely. Now I've added some beads there as well. On the back I couldn't find, I think someone's playing tricks with me, I couldn't find the green. I had a piece of this green for the top, I couldn't find it. So I thought, well, it is the top, it's a one-off, I'm going to make it different. So I found this fabric, and it's really lovely, this. It is very, very nice fabric. So I've used that instead. And on the top, I've added some sequins. Okay, that is actually a blue flower. The blue isn't coming out too well. That's a blue flower there, and there's a blue flower there with a leaf there, and green leaves there. And I hope it comes out better on the screen. But yeah, that is really pretty. I haven't squashed it yet into any shape. I'll do that later. So now have the top, and the nice twist here is that when it's opened, it isn't like the others. It is very, very sparkly. Where am I? Very sparkly. So the next thing to do, I'm going to put the top to one side. I don't want to confuse the issue. I need the base. Now this is the base. I'm just going to make the screen a bit smaller. And there we go. Now this is the outside, and that's the inside, as you know. So face down, I'm now going to sew the 4 sides in place. So once again, face down. Now where I joined it, if you remember, I did it in black so you could see it, because it's going to be hidden. These will be the base. These will be the bits, the sides that fit here, that fit the base of the box, and that way they're nicely hidden and out of the way. There's another one. So stitches to the base there, and to the base there, and the same there, stitches to the base. Now this is the formation that I'm going to work in. Now I'm going to sew, I'm just showing you this, how the formation works. I'll make that bit, oh lovely, I think I can just about get that in. Whoops. That's the computer telling me that I've moved the mouse. Right, so there we are. Now I'm going to sew these on one at a time along here, right along the edge of the base and where the stitches are, and I'm going to do a very small over sew stitch. I'm going to use a double thread. This is a really lovely thread. Yeah, it's a polyester Molinic I think that might be German, I'm not sure, someone perhaps could tell me, but I do love using this thread. It is really lovely and strong. So I'm going to take the first two here and stitches up there, right side to right side, like that, and just a tiny over sew. I'm going to start maybe 1/2 inch from the end. I'll make this bigger now, maybe 1/2 inch from the end, and I'm going to bury the knot inside that seam there. Okay, so that's buried in, and then I'm going to work my way back to the beginning, tiny little over sewed stitches. Now this is the inside, and it will never be turned inside out, so please don't worry about your stitches showing or not being neat, as long as they're tight and secure with no risk of breaking, they'll be fine. Now when you get to the end, you're just going to over sew 1, 2, so 2, that's it, and then you're going to start again. So you're going to go over sew that little bit you've done there, and that is really just to hide the knot and to strengthen it a little bit. And as you go along, you're just going to close it up with your fingers. Keep your stitches small and fairly close together, and you're going to do this all the way along. Okay, all the way. Now if like me you have the black stitches, I have gone over some here. They're not showing, but if they show, because you're really secure in this, you can just pick them out. Get your quick unpick and just take them out if it bothers you. So that is all the way down there. I'm going to take it right to the end. So I will take it right down there, and then you'll have this. Okay, now you can see here how it's joining up. Now if I've got any concerns, I'll probably go down there again, round there. I could go down there and over sew it, but I'm just going to play that by ear for the time being and carry on and over sew this. Now after I've done this one, find the base again, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other 4 sides. So I end up with a shape like, let me just close that, make that smaller. I end up with a shape like that, with them all secured and sewn down the 4 here. Alright, and you can see what's going to happen then. Just going to turn them up and over sew those, so we get the box. Although before I do that, I need to attach the lid. So one step at a time. I'm going to finish over sewing that, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on that one, and that one, and end up with a shape like a cross. Okay, so I'm going to crack on with that. I don't think it's going to take too long, and then we'll get back and see what it's looking like. So I've started now sewing up the sides. As you can see, I've even put the lid on. The lid is joined to one of the nice ends without stitching. Okay, so that's all I've done there. I've just added the lid to one end of the square. Now I've just started bringing up the sides. There's the first side, and it's been over sewn on the outside. Now I'm not too worried about the stitches that show, because that will probably be decorated anyway at the end. So I'm going to start again, where am I? Right, so I'm now going to bring up this side, this one here, and sew it along there. So I'm going to start at the top. So I'm going to start at the top here. I'm sorry about all the noise here. There's quite a bit of work going on at the moment. Right, there. Oops. Start there. I'm going to bury that as before. As before, I'm just going to start down here, just a little way from the end, bury the knot inside, oops, inside that seam, and I'm going to over sew back to the beginning. So bring that side up, and I'm going to just over sew to the end. So now I'm doing this on the right side of the box, like that. And I'm just going to do it exactly the same as before, just right down to the end and tie off, and then start the other side. So there we are, up to the beginning. Just over sew it here, just to strengthen it a little bit. But as I said, I will probably decorate these joins anyway. So just pop that thread in there, lose that there, and then I'm going to over sew it down to the end, and I should do the other side exactly the same. Okay, so let's just carry on with this, and it won't take too long at all. You start at the end, or I start at the end here at the top, because any discrepancy in length, and it might only be a fraction, just a tiny fraction, you can work it down to the bottom and disguise it. So you by doing it that way, you don't end up with any discrepancy at the top, so you end up with one side longer than the other. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I should do the other side as well, and hopefully that should complete the box, apart from the clasp and a little bit of decoration on the seams, on the sides. I'm looking out the window being nosy again. This is where I am at the moment. The sides have all been sewn and the box is assembled. I've got a pin here or a sewing needle there just to keep the lid down while I show you the sides. So I'll very carefully just spin it round from side to side. So whoops, it's quite difficult to keep it in. So there are the sides, and there is the base. So back up here to the lid, and I'll turn that round here. Just going to take the pin or the needle out now and flip it open. So there's the inside, and there is the lid, and that will go over there. Now the next thing to think about is, do I need stitching on these sides here? Do I really need? I'm aware of the stitching there. I can see the stitching. Not too sure at the moment whether I'm going to decorate them. And the clasp or something to close the lid here. I found this hair grip. It's very decorative, and I think I might spend some time seeing if I can use this, if I can actually maybe attach that there and widen this part here so it will fit into one of these. If I couch one of these long pieces down, and maybe use that, yeah, that needs to be widened, use that as some sort of clip there, or whether that will just be a little bit too over the top to have it like this. I'm not sure if it might, that would need shortening as well. Not sure if it would need something a bit simpler than that. But anyway, I'm going to spend some time now having to think about it. Probably won't do any more this evening. The next video I make, hopefully, it will be finishing time. I changed my mind about using this. I've had a stroke of luck actually. I was going through some packing and I came across this very cheap piece of a costume jewellery here. Now what I've done with the pliers, I've just shortened it by taking off just a couple of these very nice links, very cheap tinny links, but quite easy to remove as well. So I've taken those off and now I've got the length that I want. I'm going to put it, let me see the best way to do this now. I'm going to put it from the top here, from there, somewhere around about here. I'll over sew that down in place. Then this will just dangle over here. And then I'm going to put the little lobster claw back down here. So it will actually do up on the front here. So I've kept 2 links from the lobster claw. I'll make this bigger. Sorry, I've kept 2 links on that were attached to the lobster claw. Then hopefully the lobster claw will just click into this here, and that should hold it in place. Now I shall over sew this in place first, and then I'll be guided as to where the top of it should end. So there we go. So we've got the lobster claw, or the catch if you like, the catch there. Now that's going to come in the middle of the button, funnily enough, if I've worked this out right. Then that's going to come up here, and hold it down along here on the front, where that's going to be over sewn, and then that will be over sewn too, and hopefully that should hold it in place. So I reckon, let's have a look. I might be able to put the lobster, I think I'll be able to put the catch here, round about there. Right, so if I put my nail there, I'm just going to over sew it in. I'm going to take the needle, I'm going to take the needle just a little way away and pull it through, and then I can lose the knot or the end in the lining and the fabric here. So right, so there's the knot there. Just going to gently, there, I'll pull that through. Now I want it lined up with the button as well here. I'm sorry if I keep coming off the screen. I'm trying to take my eyes off this. Right, so here it is. Now I'm going to have the 2 links facing down that way. So the lobster, the claw, or the closure is facing up. I'll make this a little bit bigger. There we go. And then I'm just going to over sew the first link in place. So I need to turn this around. Now before I do that, I'm just going to show you, I've actually pinned, I've used 2 pins to hold the lid in place so it doesn't move while I do this. So where are we here? I'm going to over sew this. Oh, this is so fiddly. I might just have to close that up a bit more because it came off there. Here we go, just with the pliers, just going to squeeze that just a little bit. That's it. Didn't need much pressure. And then I'll over sew this in place, and that shouldn't take very long, just a couple of stitches. So from the outside through to the middle of the link, there we go, stitch 1. You could do a little button, a little blanket stitch around there, but to be honest I don't think it really needs it. There we go, 2. Let's see. Oh yeah, already that's feeling firm. Probably another 2. So I'm going to actually do it 1 more stitch, and then I'm going to loop it, just to knot it from the front. So through, and then catch that, just catch that there, that thread, and loop it. That's lovely and tight. And then I'm going to take that back and lose it in the background here. And just to make sure, I'm just going to walk it a little bit further up and completely lose it in the lining there. Lovely. And then cut that off. Now that's done. So the clasp, the closure, the lobster, whatever you want to call yours, is done. Now I'm going to put this back. I'm going to attach it here. So we'll open that up and put that in right there. Right. Oh, it's not too bad. That is quite central to the button. So then that can come up there and turn it over on the lid. And we want that central as well. And that is, oh ha ha. And then, yeah, is that central? Let's have a look. If I can line it up here, it should be, yeah, that, I think that's central. So take my thread again. Once again, I'm going to lose it in the background first. That's it, that's lost. And then I'm just going to oversew this just with a couple of little stitches. Right, is that, just make sure that is straight there, straight there, over the lid, and there. Oh, and I pulled the thread out. Never mind, let's do it again. Pull it through. Not too tight. And then oversew. You see they're like little beads there. Just going to oversew between these like beads. Here. This one is quite difficult. Right, I need to pull that out. Right, I'm going to make the loop first because it didn't work the other way. Make the loop and put the loop over there. There we go, that's better. And I should just go between them, a couple of them. That's a big stitch, and that's come right out of place. There we go. Now you can use anything you like to close yours up with. Ribbon, I've got a watch strap there, anything. Right, let's have a look. I'm going to make that a bit smaller. Right, so that's what we've got so far down the front, over the edge and here. Stitches, and then I should tie that off.
Loop that as before.
Lovely, and then I'm going to lose that in the background, in the lining. There, that's quite tight. But just to make sure, I'm going to do it again. There we are. Push that through. I think a longer needle might have been better, not too long. There. And that is done. Let's take the pins out that's been holding it in place. So we've got a pin here, or a needle, and a pin there. And that is finished. Let's make that smaller. So we have the top here. You can see the start there of the closure. Around there. Down here, across the front, across the button, and it finishes there. So that is quite, oh gosh, that is secure as well. Ooh, that is quite secure. And to undo it, all we've got to do is flick it open here. And there we are. So the inside, the lid with a nice piece of sequined fabric on the neck there, and there we have all the sides, the bottom, and I think that is really nice. I think it's been really successful, so do have a try. It's just such good fun to make. Hard part now is storing it. These 3D things are lovely to make, they really are, but it's so difficult to store them. One day I should get round to opening my Etsy shop. Well, it's been open for 2 years, but there's nothing in it. And I shall put everything in there. There we go. If somebody can remind me to do that, then I will do that. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Do have a go. It's great fun. And actually, I mean, I'm going to use that C word now, the Christmas word. That would really make a lovely present for somebody who likes blingy, who likes secret boxes. So anyway, I'm going to call that a day now. Call it finished. I'll speak to you all on Facebook. I know I've been really neglectful about Facebook and the YouTube comments, but oh my gosh, life has got really hectic here for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes I don't know what day of the week it is, seriously. And not only that, I've had 2 hurt teeth out as well, new dentist, you know, got big filling tomorrow. But anyway, that's another story. So I'm looking forward to starting Jackie's project. Jackie, yours is the next project with your beautiful things that you sent. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm really touched by that, Jackie. And Janet Nash, for your beautiful thing as well, your beautiful cards. So thank you very much, everybody, and I look forward to hearing from you, seeing your comments. Take care, and if you're in the UK, best luck with this weather. Aren't we miserable when it comes to the weather? It'll be snowing and we'll still be moaning. Or is that just me, or is it a British thing? I think it probably is a Brit thing. So take care, have a nice peaceful life, and I'll see you very soon.